By the end of the movie, Jaguar Paw has reunited with his spouse and child after successfully outwitting and defeating his assailants. The camera pans out to show the arrival of Spanish conquistadors on the coasts of the Mayan civilization as they flee into the jungle. The film's message and the characters' futures are called into question by the abrupt appearance of European colonists. A possible reading of the conclusion is that it is a critique of history's cyclical nature. Throughout the entire movie, the once powerful and highly developed Mayan civilization is depicted as being in a condition of decay and disarray. The arrival of the Spanish conquistadors marks the start of a new period of history that would eventually bring about the Mayans' demise. Gibson may be implying that history is a never-ending cycle of rise and collapse, with civilizations eventually giving way to new ones, by contrasting Jaguar Paw's victory with the coming of the Europeans. An alternative reading of the conclusion is that it emphasizes how damaging colonization is. The portrayal of the Mayan culture in the movie is one of cruelty and violence, with frequent acts of warfare and human sacrifice. The Spanish conquistadors, on the other hand, brought with them a new form of violence and devastation. The indigenous people would eventually be exploited and oppressed by the Europeans due to their greed and thirst for power, which would ultimately result in the eradication of their culture and way of life. Gibson may be attempting to convey that, despite the Mayans' shortcomings, European colonization was considerably more damaging and catastrophic by placing Jaguar Paw's escape in stark contrast to the arrival of the conquistadors. One may also interpret Apocalypto's conclusion as a meditation on the human spirit's tenacity. Jaguar Paw encounters several difficulties and roadblocks during the movie, but he never gives up trying to save his family. Their eventual escape is a result of his tenacity and cunning. Even though the Spanish conquistadors' presence is concerning, Jaguar Paw's survival is still a great achievement. It serves as a reminder that the human spirit is resilient and capable of overcoming even the most daunting obstacles. The movie's conclusion also poses concerns over how outside influences affect indigenous societies. The rich history and customs of the Mayan civilization are depicted as being on the verge of extinction. For the Mayans, the advent of the Spanish conquistadors heralds the beginning of the end as European influences progressively undermine and supplant their way of life. Because indigenous peoples all across the world have encountered comparable difficulties while dealing with foreign pressures, this issue of cultural absorption and loss has recurred throughout history. The conclusion of Apocalypto serves as a poignant reminder of the value of protecting and honoring various cultural traditions. In conclusion, Apocalypto's finale leaves room for interpretation and presents a number of possible interpretations. The film's ending makes a lasting impression on spectators, whether it be a critique of colonization, a remark on the cyclical nature of history, a celebration of the human spirit, or an analysis of how outside pressures affect indigenous civilizations. The impact of the movie lasts long after the credits roll, thanks to Mel Gibson's choice to contrast Jaguar Paw's victory with the coming of the Spanish conquistadors.